This video is about the U.S. state of Georgia, which is depicted on this map. This video is not about the nation of Georgia that is located in Caucasia. You can see on this map that Georgia does not have much coastline. In fact, because most of Georgia's eastern edge touches South Carolina rather than the ocean, Georgia has a lot less coastline than many people assume. Georgia's coastline is only about 110 miles long. It stretches from Savannah, Georgia, which is adjacent to the South Carolina border, to the Georgian outskirts of the Jacksonville, Florida metro area. Because this video is about the Georgian coastline, I won't mention Jacksonville further. I'll focus on the Savannah metro area, which includes the 3 towns listed under Savannah in this table. Georgetown, Pooler, and Wilmington Island represent just a sample of Savannah's suburbs. Savannah itself has a population of 146,000, but the entire metro area has a population of more than 400,000. As you can see in the table here, the rest of the towns on the Georgia coast are much less populated than Savannah. So if retiring to a small town on the East Coast sounds appealing, coastal Georgia has plenty of options. I decided to include Fort Stewart in this video, which is about an hour's drive southwest of Savannah. Fort Stewart is unique among the places listed here because it's about a 40-minute drive inland from the coast and is one of the larger towns somewhat toward the middle of the Georgia coast. To represent the southern end of the Georgia coast, I'll mention Brunswick and Kingsland in this video. I had to be selective, of course, so I've neglected many smaller towns along this 110-mile coastline. Before I describe coastal Georgia, let me explain why the state of Georgia is attracting a lot of attention as a desirable state to retire in. In 2021, Georgia made headlines when Bankrate.com rated it as the best U.S. state for retirement. Some of the reasons given for this distinction are listed here. Georgia is inexpensive, especially outside of the Atlanta metro area. Georgians enjoy 4 seasons, which doesn't seem that unique to most Americans, but a little farther south in South Florida, retirees experience no genuine winter. Georgia does have winter, but as we'll see when we get to the climate section, the winters are mild, especially in the lower half of the state. Depending on your perspective, the huge airport in Atlanta is either a source of headaches for Georgians, because it's one of the 3 busiest airports in the world, or it's a tremendous resource to Georgians who travel frequently because it's one of the 3 busiest airports in the world. Another nice thing about Georgia is its topographical variety. Georgia has beaches in the region highlighted in this video, but also has relatively smooth, eroded mountains in the northwest, as I've highlighted in a separate video about northwest Georgia. So Georgians are never too far away from a variety of outdoor activities. As mentioned, one reason Georgia is so attractive to retirees is that outside of the Atlanta area, much of the state is inexpensive. According to bestplaces.net, almost all of the places shown here have a cost of living below the national average. Wilmington Island, one of Savannah's more costly suburbs, is the only exception. These cost of living estimates shown in the second column of this table seem credible. After all, they correlate with median home prices in these towns. To cite just one example from the middle of the pack, the median home cost in Georgetown, Georgia, is $190,500, which is 21% lower than the national average. This contributes to Georgetown's below-average cost of living. Retirees looking for an inexpensive place to live often discover that with greater affordability comes greater crime. This is a relationship that holds across many towns and cities in the United States. So bestplaces.net crime statistics are included here, along with the cost of living statistics. As you can see in the second and third columns, many parts of coastal Georgia experience higher than average crime. Retirees in particular should take this into account and consider the strategies that many Americans living in affordable areas use to protect themselves from crime. Retirees choose coastal Georgia at least partly because it places them close to many beautiful beaches, natural areas, and historical areas. Tybee Island, Ossabaw Island, Sapelo Island, Jekyll Island, and Cumberland Island, as well as many more beach areas, appear along the coast. The region also includes at least 5 national wildlife refuges or estuaries. State parks and historic sites appear up and down the coast, and several of these historic sites are old forts. Living on the coast of the southeastern United States necessarily includes the drawback of coping with hurricanes and tropical storms. According to the National Hurricane Center, the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season included 14 hurricanes, 15 tropical storms, 1 tropical depression, and 1 subtropical storm. Most of these did no significant damage in Georgia. But it would be naive for a prospective retiree to assume that all the hurricanes and storms that they hear about in the news are concentrated in states like Florida and Texas. Georgia has been and will be affected by such storms. Hurricane season runs from June to November. Keep in mind that occasional dangerous weather or natural disasters are an inherent risk of living anywhere in the United States, especially as the climate warms. Speaking of climate, what I'm displaying here are averages for Brunswick, Georgia, because it is roughly in the middle of the region we're focusing on. Note that the average high temperature in July is approximately 90 degrees Fahrenheit. The average high in January is approximately 60 degrees Fahrenheit. There is plenty of rain most of the year, with the most rain falling in August through October. Snow is almost unheard of in this region, especially near the seashore. The ocean moderates the summer heat a little, but summer days in this region can be extremely muggy. I'm not sure words can do southeastern Georgia's mugginess justice. The heavy summer air just has to be experienced. Before permanently moving to any region for retirement, be sure to visit in different parts of the year. Also, it's better to rent before buying, so that when you do buy, you buy with greater knowledge. Many viewers of this video may wonder whether coastal Georgia contains many people like themselves. Diversity has so many different dimensions to it that I can't hope to answer every question every viewer might have about people in this region. So I will focus just on racial and political diversity. Because we're focusing on a region rather than one town or city, I had to do some averaging. I computed the simple averages of the percentages for Savannah, Fort Stewart, and Kingsland. This will give a rough idea of what's typical in the area, but note that by averaging, I've occasionally obscured some differences between the Savannah area and other towns. I'll mention some of these differences in a moment. Looking at the region as a whole, you can see that the largest racial group in most of the region identifies as white, and the second largest racial group identifies as black. For Savannah, however, those first two percentages are essentially reversed. That is, approximately half of Savannah's citizens identify as black. Only around 10% of the region's residents identify as Hispanic, and that varies only a little up and down the coast. Looking at the region as a whole, political preferences seem to be somewhat balanced. While the data I'm showing are for the presidential election in 2016, the data aren't that different for other elections. You may recall that in the 2020 presidential election, Georgia defied expectations and very narrowly swung for Joe Biden. Georgia has recently become a rather purple state, and this region of Georgia seems to be fairly purple as well when taken as a whole. Of course, if you're aware of urban versus rural trends in American politics, you might doubt that Savannah is really as purple as the rest of the region, and your suspicion is correct. Democrats generally win in Savannah, and Republicans generally win more often in towns south of Savannah. I've already mentioned that visiting beaches and wildlife areas are popular things to do in this region. But let me also mention that Savannah is well known for its historical sites and tours. The Huppman Group, a real estate firm, has reported that approximately 12 million tourists visit Savannah in a typical year. They enjoy not only Savannah's beaches and sensational seafood, but its rich history. Farther down the Georgia coast, residents and visitors can enjoy excellent shore excursions, fishing, historical sites, golf, and natural areas. Tybee Island, St. Simon's Island, Jekyll Island, and Cumberland Island all attract many vacationers every year. If you found this video helpful, you can find many more like it on the Multicollinearity channel. Please consider subscribing, and thanks for watching.